Work friends are crucial for your health.
She's not talking to us. She's not talking to us. Your coworkers are not your friends. You can be nice to them, you can be cordial to them, but they are not your friends. Act accordingly.
Okay, I'm not filming this because I want a pity party. I'm so frustrated, okay? Can't be the new girl or the new person at work because adults don't know how to act like adults anymore. Nobody has respect for anybody anymore. I started this new job and from the very first day, I introduced myself, I said hi. 1 out of like the 4 people that were there said hi. They started talking about the agency that I was hired through because through the actual location, I'm hired through an agency because they're struggling to find employees, okay? So they start talking about how we're taking over the agency. That they don't like it because apparently we're getting paid more. We're not. And on the very first day, one of them that was sitting right next to me commented out loud, why would they bring us somebody that cannot help us? It's my first day. So off the bat, that's how the energy was. And then if they did talk to me, it was in such a hostile way. And I work amongst people that are my age too. That's why why are we acting like we're in high school? Why are we acting like if I keep to myself, like I'm a bitch? I come to work. I come to clock in, do my job, and clock out. I didn't come to make friends. I didn't come for validation. And I give people basic respect, literally, basic respect. They couldn't. Today, I walked in, the vibes, I felt the energy, and I just couldn't. I walked out. I literally walked out, and I cried out of frustration because this is so stupid. Like, this is so stupid. From the start, they noticed that I have boundaries at work. They have none. Okay, they have none. They name call each other. They talk to each other any kind of way. That's not how I am at work. My personality is reserved for my friends, my family, my loved ones. My work personality is that's it. It doesn't go beyond that. And they noticed that. They noticed that I have boundaries and I keep to myself. And then they started projecting so much bullshit. They made it their second job to try to humble me with little comments, with trying to leave me out, trying to make me feel like I don't belong there, like they don't want me there. And I don't care. I don't let these things get to me. And they notice that too because I show up every day with the same attitude, with the same aura, with the same vibe, okay? I go home, I don't feel shitty about myself. When they go home, they probably do. So they want me to feel the exact same. But when I don't and I show up every morning exactly the same, with the same confidence, with the same thinking that's when their mind is like, think she's better than us. No, I don't think I'm better than anybody. You think I'm better than you. That's what you're projecting your bullshit on. That's why you want me to also feel shitty about myself. That's why you also want me to not have boundaries and to show up with my head down. Oh, that's never gonna be me. I'm sorry. And you wanna know what sucks the most? Is that 2 of those women are Latinas, like me. They're the only 2 that speak Spanish, including me. So, that's gross. I'm sorry, that's just gross. From your own people, that's gross.
All the employees is one thing. You know what me no say? Misery love company. Workplace can definitely be a breeding ground for drama, betrayal, and of course, a toxic behavior. What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to my channel. You don't know, it's your favorite island girl, Jody here from the 876. Of course, we are back. And today, guys, we're diving into another story time about backstabbing coworker. You know them. You know what we are talking about. And the wild situations that people face while they are on the job. You know, whether it's a fake friendship or just a cutthroat competition, these stories will have you rethinking your work relationships as you should. But before we get into all, we'll find out who the snakes really are. Remember to just like this video for your girl. It's an easy and free way. I don't know why I'm singing. It's an easy and free way to, of course, support my channel. And if you're new, please consider subscribing and become a part of the Islanders family, of course. And if you want your official big up, you can indicate same by dropping some palm trees with it right here, so down in the comment section, and the rest of the Islanders family will of course welcome you. Oh, of course, my question to you, me always come with a question is, have you ever dealt with a toxic workplace or betrayal? If you have, please share your experiences down below respectfully, of course. So let's start with the older employees, the ones who seem like their only objective is to make maybe the younger employees' life a living hell. Me know, so you must know them people that we are talking about. And don't get me wrong, this isn't always the case, because I've worked with some older ladies that has become like basically a second mother to me. So I'm not putting it across the board. It's not a broad brush kind of thing. We know that usually the older workers bring more valuable experience, perspective, of course, and often a level of patience maybe that the younger employees may not have developed as yet. However, like everyone, their contributions and behavior can definitely vary. And more oftentimes than many, I find that the older employees who deliberately create challenges for the younger co-workers are often acting out of insecurity, frustration, and of course resistance to change. This dynamic can make the entire workplace unnecessarily fragile and of course unproductive. With that being said, let's watch.
Have y'all ever had a coworker who is 2 times or 4 times your age starting all this beef with you? Like, who is this dinosaur? Who is this talking, walking fossil having beef with 18, 20, 25-year-old? Meanwhile, the whole time they're 55. I think they're just really insecure. They see you mad young, they've been around the block, and you just got to the block.
We need to start preparing young women for the workplace drama that involves just a random old lady having one-sided beef with you. Like, I was fully expecting the misogyny and ageism from men, but nobody prepared me for this. We need to start preparing young women for the workplace drama that involves just a random old lady having one-sided beef with you.
Random old white women in corporate America being like the biggest bullies you've ever encountered, like so rude for no reason, is something that nobody on this planet prepared me for. And we need to talk about it, because like, why? For what? Why is a random 45-year-old woman named Linda beefing with me for no reason at all? And let me be clear, when I start a new job, I am a people pleaser. Like, I am overly nice. I want everyone to get along because I don't want to keep going through the whole repeated pattern of like, oh, we're like a big family, like toxic corporate work culture thing that keeps happening. And it's literally the reason like I do freelance work now. I don't want to deal with these weird dynamics in workplaces. Because recently I went down a side of TikTok where it was like women of color coming forward and sharing that white women in corporate America were some of the worst people they have to deal with. And I fully support them because they truly are. Obviously, their reasons for feeling that way are probably a lot different than mine, but they really are. And I genuinely don't know why. Because, like, is it good old-fashioned misogyny? Do they still genuinely, like, believe there isn't enough space in the corporate world for all women, so they have to turn it into, like, a weird competition constantly? I've worked in a number of them now, and there's always at least one woman in there somewhere that is just determined to make your life miserable. One job I had, my boss was a woman, and I noticed that everyone they hired for our department, they purposefully hired both women and women who were like super young. And I mean like they were either still in college or they had just graduated like that year. Like they had to be 21. Because she had a tendency to really infantilize all the people who reported to her and like wanted to be like a mentor that people looked up to, but kind of like were never on her level. And I remember one day it slipped out somehow that I was actually 24 and she thought the whole time I was like 20 or 21 and it was just a little bit awkward. That was only where the problems began to start though, because then one day when she was out of the office and like her boss though was in, he walked in on me doing some random work because I got bored. I finished all my work. So I logged into the back end of the website. We worked in marketing, right? But I have a degree in like UX, UI and all of that other stuff. And since I was bored, I was fixing the coding and whatnot on the back end of the website, asked my boss if I could do it. She was like, sure, if you've got time, because the website was really messed up. And he walked in, you know, we were chit-chatting, we were having a good time, and he saw that I was doing this and asked me about it, and he was, like, really impressed. He didn't know that I could do this. And I was like, yeah, I mean, no one's ever really asked me what my background is here at the company. And literally, like, a few minutes later, after he leaves, I get an email CC'd with, like, my boss and other people that I've been promoted, essentially. AKA, they're just gonna pay me more. But essentially the message of the email was like, oh, we see that you have a lot of value, that you're important to the company, and we like want to make sure that you stay here. And that's when the problems with my boss, who sat above me, really started. Like, I don't know exactly why, but she started making my day-to-day life very difficult with like menial things for no reason. Like, she would write up all the random mistakes that happened in the office, not always mine, not usually mine. Some of them were hers too, and she would report me to HR, so I'd have to go to HR, and I don't know how to argue that. Like, my boss is saying I did this. Ironically, after that, I then got written up and sent to HR for asking too many clarifying questions about stuff that I should know. However, I was just trying to make sure we didn't have any more mistakes at the company. Like, it started to be a running joke in our department, because I was chill with everyone else in the department, that like at any random given moment, I could be just sent to HR to be lectured and yelled at for things that really just didn't make any sense. And it was like a funny running joke in the office because like everyone else was also starting to have problems with her. So I felt pretty comforted in that fact. But it even got to the point where I was like crying in the bathroom at work most days, and she still yelled at me for doing that because it was unprofessional. But I specifically remember one day, our big boss came back from a lunch with one of our coworkers. And so he was hanging out in like our office, because literally like 6 of us shared an office. It was a really weird setup, but we were all hanging out, having fun. We were joking, we were laughing. He and I were like shooting jokes back and forth, and we were laughing our butts off. I thought it was like a really good day. And then I look over at her in the corner, and she's giving me like the evilest look I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know why. I can't figure out why, but I know that I'm about to be offed once he leaves the room. But after he leaves, she literally just like packs up and leaves for the day. And then the next day I come into the office, and of course I get called into HR. And she has told HR that everyone in our department, all like 7 or 8 of us, apparently have written up that they're uncomfortable with my behavior at work. And I'm sitting here bawling in HR because I have no idea. Everyone hates me, essentially, is what she's saying. Like, no one wants me there. Like, and I don't know what to say to that. And I'm like, could you give me some examples? Like, if I don't want to make everyone uncomfortable, like, could you tell me what I could do to change? They can't give me a single example because there are none. I remember I'm bawling. She says, go take a walk before you go back to the office because, like, I don't want people seeing this. And I was just like, no. I went straight back to the office where all our coworkers were bawling. They're like, what happened? Like, what did you get written up for this time? And I was like, apparently every single one of you filed a report about me. And everyone's looking at each other going, literally no one in here has ever complained about you once. And they were all so sweet and understanding and comforting to me in that moment. Like, I knew they were telling the truth, but I did not want to continue to fight this grown lady and our HR over this. So I just wrote like my 2 weeks notice, and I turned it in the next day and left the company. And I won't lie, slowly but surely, pretty much everyone left after me because they also had these problems. But I've definitely experienced like stuff like this in other companies too, and I just don't understand, like, do they just not think we can all coexist? Is it because it's like marketing, and like marketing is considered a young person's game, so they feel threatened? Like, I don't know, but it's wild, and no one tells you that this is going to be another thing you get to deal with later in life.
You want to combat a workplace bully and shut them right the hell up, here's exactly what you're going to do. You are going to pretend that you don't even register what they're saying as being rude. Because people like that, whether they realize it or not, want attention, negative or positive, because they are deeply insecure. So when they make a bitchy or sidebar comment, you can look at them deadpan and be like, oh, sorry, what did you mean by that? I was just confused. Or, sorry, I wasn't listening. Could you just repeat that? Literally act stupid. Force them to have to explain themselves. Force them to out themselves as an asshole. Cheers.
If you are dealing with a crusty, busty, dusty, rude motherfucker from work, this is exactly what you're going to do. That's not going to get you sent to HR coming from HR. Okay, listen, écoutez, regardez. First of all, everything needs to be put in writing. When you're dealing with the pain in the word of mouth means that every single time they ask for a task or an update or whatever it is, ask them to email you. Ask them to email you. You are going to resist that urge that sits within your chest and your belly and you're everywhere else to talk shit. Gossip's not getting you anywhere. Keep it to yourself, write it down, and then go to your manager. Escalate. This is above your pay grade. Repeat it after me. This is above my pay grade. I'm so sorry, but navigating office politics is not a part of your job description. If you've gotten everything documented and you are staying out of the drama, go to your manager, flag it, ask for support.
Good evening from my home. I'm in my closet and I'm just leaving work. So you guys usually never see corporate Cupid, but I thought I would share this story time before I get undressed for the day of the most unhinged assistant I've ever had and how I had to fire somebody after 3 weeks. So while I was in Brazil a month ago, my actual assistant that I've had for the last 3 years, her husband got a job in Calgary, which is another part of Canada. So she only gave me the week while I was in Brazil to let me know that she would have to move to follow him. I mean, who am I to tell her she can't go and chase her man and her dreams? So by the time I got back from Brazil, it was her last day. She gave me all of the work on her desk, and I proceeded to put a info out on Indeed looking for applicants that may be interested in being an assistant. Now, I usually always get women, and I got over 35 applicants in the span of 1 week because, as we know, the job market ain't what it used to be. So I started going through them, vetting them, whittled it down to the last 8. One of them was late. 3 of them, the communication wasn't really good. And then another one, her references did not pan out. So I interviewed on Zoom the remaining 3, and one of them, a guy, stood out. He was amazing. He aced his interview. Very charismatic, very charming, very quick on his feet. You know, I like some quick wit. And his references were amazing. So he started the Monday a week later. Now, very, very soon on, I realized that what I thought was charisma, what I thought was confidence, was actual arrogance. And he started making certain comments about mistakes he made. Like, well, everyone makes mistakes. If you have that mentality when you are making a mistake, especially a mistake that is material to me and it's costing me money, you're never going to learn because you immediately become defensive. And once you're defensive, when you make a mistake, every time you get to that task, your brain is going to tell you, well, the mistake is not that serious, and you will make it again. So I noticed that my office manager was kind of coddling him. And I just was like, when he makes a mistake, you need to let me know. Because he's in a probationary period now. We're going to do quick write-ups and get him out of there. So she was hiding said mistakes because, again, she knows the job market and she didn't want to be the cause of somebody being without a job, which is honorable. I get it. But I mean, I'm going to look at you every time he makes a mistake because as the office manager, you need to be managing all this while I'm working from the other office. So the first mistake he made was outright lying to a customer. And I'm listing mistakes that I found out after he was fired, before you come to the comments and ask me why I didn't fire him after the first mistake. Okay? So the first mistake he made, he outright lied to a customer. He told her that he had sent her an email that he did not send, and she's busy looking through her inbox and can't find it. And finally, she copies the office manager to find out what's going on. Like, maybe he has the wrong address. She goes to his computer. He never sent it. His response to her was, well, she kept asking me for it, and I wanted to get her off my back. There's a real mental health crisis in Canada right now. So it's the only excuse and the only explanation I can come up with. If you want to be paid for a job, and you are at said job, why did you think you wasn't going to have to do said job to keep said job? That was the first mistake. The second one, I actually caught wind of. He was supposed to send out a certain amount of invoices by the end of the day. And then they sent me an email saying that they never got them. So I reached out to him like, what's going on? He's like, oh, I organized under the kitchen sink. You think this is HGTV? I hired you for organization, or I hired you to assist the office manager? He's like, oh, I'll get to it today, because I'm not paying you to organize under the sink. He's like, well, I saw the plant in the lobby and it looks like it needs water. I hired you for horticulture? I hired you because you had a green thumb, or I needed you to make me some green? Which one was it? Because I remember the interview. It seems you may have forgotten what you're doing here. And I've noticed that he just would walk. Anytime I'm in the office, he would be walking quickly past the office like he's on fire, just to make it look like he's busy. I don't need you to walk around like Smithers chasing Mr. Burns. I need you at your desk getting the work done. Like, you can't fool me. I used to be an employee. So I'm not fooled by you trying to make yourself look busy, because I also have a degree in accounting. So I can tell when you're actually busy. I'm using metrics. In an 8-hour day, there's no reason you can't send out at least 10 invoices. I mean, it's basic data entry. But you're never at your desk because you speed walking past my office like you're in a speed walking marathon. Now, the day that I am getting ready to go surprise my dad in Ghana, I'm packing my bag, and my hairdresser, figure eight, shaped like figure eight, can attest to this, because she was in my bathroom plucking my wig and getting it ready for installation. I called my office manager and I was like, listen, should I fire him? He's here to assist you. If he's not assisting you or he's making your job harder, let him go. He could go. She was like, oh no. Again, she's super sweet. She's super nice. And she's afraid of putting him out of the job because she knows how hard it is in this market to get a job. And I'm like, okay, well, I need you to wrangle him, reel him in, and make sure he's doing what he needs to do. You're the office manager. Go to Ghana. While I'm in Ghana, I get emails. This invoice is wrong. We can't pay it. This invoice is wrong. We can't pay it. And I'm looking at who sent them, and it was him. So I call her immediately. I'm at my Amsterdam layover. Like, he needs to be written up on Monday, because I don't understand how he's getting basic data entry wrong. If the paper says 8 and you put 10, where'd you get that? Like, the math not mathing. I need you to show your work on the paper like we in 8th grade math, because I'm confused. You see 8, you put 10, what's happening? So on Monday, she writes him up. I am literally en route from the airport. Like, I'm going to go home, shower, drop my luggage, and go straight to the office. She sends me a text as I am lotioning my body. Like, he can't stay here. I'm like, what do you mean? She said, when I went to go write him up, he said, F off. Excuse me? Oh, I left the whole bottom of my body unlotioned. I threw my clothes on. I said, I'm en route. I'm on my way. Where do you think you work? This not a gambling ring. This not a card counting business. This not a casino, and it's definitely not a strip club. How can you think that you can work at a place and use abusive language in the office? Are you unwell? Is everything all right at home? Okay. So I call the office while I'm in the car en route, and he picks up. The second he hears my voice, you need to talk to the office manager. Oh, mind you, for context, the reason why I say he looks like Smithers is because this man was born in the 70s. This not a kid. This a man older than me, acting like a high school student, an elementary school student. So when I walk in the office, he's like, I got to talk to you right away. I will address you when I can. I see my office manager. I said, I want you to come into my office. He has this smug sense of satisfaction. In his mind, he thinks I'm about to fire my 6-year office manager for somebody that hasn't even been here for 6 weeks. Are you unwell? So I tell her to run down what happened. She said that as she was doing the write-up, somebody had come to the front and he got up to leave. And she was like, well, our meeting isn't done. And he said, F off. You can't emasculate me in front of another person. And walked out. Okay. So when I'm done with her and I call him into my office, he thinks that I've reprimanded her. But I told her that when I close the door, gather up his desk, sign out of the computer, and put everything on the top so he could take it on his way out. Sits down and I'm like, I want you to tell me what happened, but it needs to end with how it resulted in abusive language. Like, you need to tell me how she talked about your grandmother, spit on you, or talked about your mother's honor. All right, go. He's like, well, she's had it out for me this whole time. I said, she the reason why you're here, because I was going to fire you after the first offense. But now you could take your key and you could go. Have a nice day. I wish you all the best in the future endeavors. You know, I always end it with an HR exit. He was completely shocked. And I hired somebody by next Monday. All right, have a blessed day, guys.
This situation was a mess. Imagine hiring someone to do a specific job and they manage to do everything but the job that they're being paid to do. Then what makes the matters worse is that you have the nerve to even use indecent language to your manager. Are you okay, sir? I'm sorry, but at that point, what else do you need to know but to show him the door? respect and professionalism are the bare minimum. I think we need to continue this segment with, of course, disrespectful co-workers. I'm sure you have come across one or two of these people in your work life. For those people who think that professionalism does not apply to them, that they're, above reproach, they just go around being rude, dismissive, and just outright disrespectful for no reason. And listen, work stress is already enough without dealing with, the bad attitude on top of it. We're going to unpack this behavior and to see how it affects the workplace, and most importantly, how to handle it while keeping your own peace intact, because we know that's so important. So for this next clip, let me know, how would you deal with this situation? Let's keep watching.
Okay, TikTok friends and followers, I need y'all advice. I have to deal with a woman in a professional setting, and she is my colleague, and she's absolutely horrible to not only me, but everybody, right? And so I know it's not personally just me, okay? And when I say she's horrible to everybody, she talks to us in a demeaning way. Like, she talks to us like she is beneath, like we're beneath her. Like, she physically spits on us without the physical action, if y'all get what I'm saying. She's an amazing employee to the company, but she doesn't do anything for us as far as our counterparts, as far as our colleagues. So and yes, before y'all even ask, I have gotten management involved prior. Her behavior improved slightly, and what I mean by slightly is she went from disrespecting me personally every day, all day long, to disrespecting me in different, spurts of the day, right? So I have conditioned myself to think, I just got to accept this from my colleague, because she used to do it all day, every day. But since she do it every day still, but in spurts of the day, then I should just accept that, right? And I'm keeping it together real well, because it actually makes me sad, because I feel like I'm not able to disrespect anybody. Mind you, I don't want to, but I felt like if it was me, then it would be handled a whole different way. But since it's somebody else, all of a sudden it's just brushed up under the rug. Let me be the first to say, like I said, she's an amazing employee to the company, which means they may need her. I don't. Which means you can talk to our superiors any way that you want to, because they may need you on a different level. Me, not so much. So I don't know how to handle this situation if I've already got management involved. And like I said, it's not just me. I see her talk greasy to everybody. And I know other employees have went to management about this same lady. So I'm going back and forth with my mind like, hey, I don't even give a damn. Let me get this money and get the... But then it's like, this is my work environment in which I go to every day, and why should I have to deal with that? So I want y'all advice as to what I should do dealing with this horrible, horrible colleague that I have.
I know I ain't the only one that feels like coworkers make or break the workplace. Cause you already know how it be. When you got that cool bunch, everything be real chill. You got clowning ass Calvin that keep everybody laughing. You got smooth ass Sam that's always getting at all the females, and y'all be in there just big chilling. However, when you got them coworkers like snitching ass Sally, that shit just get on your fucking nerves and irritate your soul. She do the little slick like when somebody asks, hey, where's Queen? I don't know, but she took her lunch about an hour and 10 minutes ago. Bitch, mind your motherfucking business. It ain't coming out of your motherfucking check. Don't monitor my motherfucking minutes. Or how about nosy ass Nancy who always want to question what you got going on? Can you get back to your cubicle and worry about your motherfucking job duty? Stop worrying about mine. Then you got bad breath Bob who always want to have his mother ass in your face. God damn, I know you smell your breath. Please give me 5 feet, sir. And I'm so tired of complaining ass Candace. You complain all day long. I be wanting to tell her, like, take that to HR, because don't nobody want to hear that shit. And lazy ass Lisa, I'ma just tell you what everybody been wanting to tell you. Do fucking work or find another job, cause the rest of us is tired of watching you just sit on your mother ass while we bust ours. And how about messy ass Mary? She be the first one ready to chit chat when somebody get called into the boss's office. You see, yes, bitch, seen it. I got eyes. Thank you. Go back to your seat. Then we be having to deal with know-it-all Natalie for 8 hours who just somehow seems to think that she's your mother manager. Bitch, you are my coworker, not my motherfucking superior, okay? Oh, but let me just say, I love Mama Maria. She don't never tell on you. You could sneak by her and tell me, hey, tell me when the boss coming. You done went to sneak outside and go have a smoke break for 30 minutes. She go, no say. Yeah, I love you too, Maria.
Okay, so I gotta tell y'all my business. I gotta vent to somebody, and if y'all not gonna do nothing else, y'all gonna be honest with me whether I want to hear it or not. And that's why I fuck y'all. Anywho, y'all not working recruiting, right? And I'm checking my calendar on Monday, and I see like a random like meeting, and I'm like, I don't remember this. Anywho, when I get in the meeting, it's 2 recruiters that I work with, my manager and their manager. And once I see the recruiter, I'm like, oh, I know what this is. This is an ambush. They ambush me. Because what's the chances that the 2 people in the meeting are people that I work directly with every day? But I'm like, okay, cool. So then we start off the meeting like, oh, how's everybody's day going? And I'm be like, okay, like, it's fine. You don't really care how my day is going. Just like get to the point what you really want to talk about. All of this is BS. So it turns out that these 2 recruiters and they manager, they've been talking to each other. Right? Plotting against me. They've been talking to each other, and these 2 recruiters, they complained about the way I'm scheduling candidates, right? Mind you, never said any of this to my face. They needed to group up with each other first, right? And it completely caught me off guard. So I schedule hundreds of candidates a week, right? For multiple recruiters. But these 2 recruiters, they want me to call the candidates now. 99% of my communication is through email because it's too many people. So they're like, Dominique, when a candidate does a no-show or, they don't want to do the interview, we just want some type of update. And I'm like, wait, I do update you. It's no time where they do a no-show and I knew they don't show up to an interview and I knew they wasn't going to come to an interview and I don't tell you. Like, that makes no sense. But if I'm confirming the invite, they respond to me like, hey, I'll be attending the interview, and they decide to take another job that pays them more money, which y'all should be paying them, and they don't come to the interview. That's not my fault. I did everything on my end. And my supervisor, she steps in, which I was surprised, but she steps in and she's like, we just don't think that's realistic because when things pick up, you're not the only 2 recruiters that she works with, and she's not going to be able to call everybody. You know what I mean? That's not my job. I'm not a recruiter. I don't get paid recruiter money. If you want to be on the phone with these candidates, you call them. And my response was, wait, you want me to call all of these candidates? Like, for everybody? And they got quiet. And I was like, well, what phone am I gonna call them on? Not my Verizon. My Verizon is for TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and for random BS I do on my phone. It's not for work. Work is work. My time is my time. Yo, when I tell y'all, they was so mad that I'm not calling candidates, and I'm really not gonna do it. I'm really not. But they got so mad that they don't put anything in the chat anymore. They trying to like get me, and they send everything through email so they can use it against me.
I need to tell y'all what happened to me yesterday, and I need feedback bad. Okay, I bring banana pudding for my coworkers. For those of you all who new here, I know how to bake. I'm not that good of a cook, but when it comes to sweets, I does that. Anyhow, my number 1 requested dish is banana pudding. And my coworker requests I make banana pudding for Mother's Day. Mother's Day is a very busy day at the restaurant. We was all there for 13, 14 hours. I made banana pudding. I buy the ingredients myself. I spend the, correct amount of time preparing it, making it pretty, all these things. And I use my own little recipe. My coworkers always request the same things. I'm like, let me make you a peach cobbler, a cheesecake, a sweet potato pies, a pineapple upside down cake. They always just want banana pudding, right? Boom. My coworkers, when it comes to my banana pudding, it's like crack. They don't know how to act. They don't know how to share. People don't be getting none. Sometimes I don't even get none myself, but it don't bother me because I make it. So I'm really just tired of eating it. Anyway, boom. So one of my coworkers who I'm cool with, she yelled at me. voice was real agitated because she didn't get no banana pudding. And me and my other coworker, we like looking at her. We waiting for her to crack a smile, like a LOL, like, okay, you didn't get none, She's like literally yelling at me, agitated because she didn't get no banana pudding. And in her defense, what she said was, when she brings me something to eat, she packaged my food separately and make sure that I get it. So she wanted me to do that for her when it came to banana pudding, put some banana pudding aside for her. I did not do that. She did not like that. And she, rose her voice in me. And like I said, me and my other coworker, we look at her like, never should you act like that over some food. And I don't like being yelled at. I don't like being spoken to like that. I do understand that, she was agitated. At the end of the day, I'm going to put the banana pudding out for everybody. I bought it for my coworkers with an S. So if they ate it all, then that's it. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And for her, she was just like, oh, when I bring you food, I make you a specific plate and I give it to you. That's something that you do. You're not making plates for the entire staff. You bought that specifically for me, and thank you. I didn't ask you to do that, number one. But like I said, thank you. This was specifically for the entire staff, as we all spend 13, 14 hours here on our feet busting ass. So you didn't get none? Hell, I didn't get none. And I bought it and I made it. But me personally, I understand how much they like the banana pudding. It wasn't going to last. So I wanted to know what y'all thought about that, about her reaction.
All right, let's get into it now, the meat of the matter, because some of you guys really need to be reminded that
your co-workers are not your friends.
I know it is tempting. You're all just laughing at the same jokes. Bonding on how slow the Wi-Fi is, or maybe even grabbing lunch together, even some look after work jam and all of that. But let me tell you, you see the workplace, that place is not for spilling all your tea and letting your guard down too much. It's okay to be cordial, don't get me wrong, but the personal stuff and the nitty-gritty, leave that at the gate. Because the same folks who may seem cool now, they definitely will throw you under the bus or whenever it's convenient to them. Just like this next clip, let's watch.
I learned the hard way that people at work aren't always your friends. I used to be an apprentice at this firm, and I basically was at that place because I wanted to qualify as a solicitor, but I also wanted to get some really good experience. So I took an apprenticeship at that firm. And there was this girl who worked in the business services department with me, and she basically had done her law degree, she'd done her LPC, and she was just working in business services. She was around my age. I was 20, she was like 24, 25, so not that much of an age gap. She seemed to be cool, and she has the same way home as me. So one day we were on our way home, and she was telling me about what she wants to do and how she wants to, stay there and, work her way up. So I was like, okay, cool. And she asked me, what do you want to do? And I told her, oh yeah, I'm just here for the time being. I'm on this program. I'm considering both, staying on here in business services part of law, or, going to uni to qualify as a solicitor. I really am not sure. I don't know what I want to do. She was asking me, how do I like it? Whatever. Then the next day I get called into a meeting with my manager, not just the manager, the senior manager of the entire department. And she sits me down with my manager and she goes, why are you here? I said, sorry, I don't understand. She said, I had a conversation with the girl, and she basically was telling me how you're not here, you don't want to be on the program, and how you want to qualify as a solicitor. And she was telling me how this entire program is very exclusive, because it was exclusive, it was like a really big law firm, and how a lot of people interviewed and and I was chosen. And I was like, what a sneaky little biatch. I said to my manager, well, that was a private conversation I had with somebody outside of working hours, so I don't think it's appropriate that you're even discussing this with me now. And on top of that, yes, my plans are my plans. I'm here deciding if this is what I want to do. But I might also want to qualify as a solicitor. And I'm saying this very sternly now, but the way I said it then, I was 20 years old working with 30, 40, 50-year-olds. My manager, the woman who I'm talking to, she seemed to hate me. She's the reason that I even left that workplace. started having anxiety, started having panic attacks, I stopped eating. Like, she was awful to me during the pandemic because it was just me and her working on like a specific project, and she micromanaged the life out of me, so I ended up leaving there and having to go to therapy. Anyway, this girl basically had gone behind my back in the time that it took for me to go home, right, and come back the next day. She had gone and told the entire department my plans when she's the one who asked me. What a snake. And that's how I learned, oh, these people are not your friend. These people are not your friend. Even my actual work bestie, who, you know, I'm actually friends with, she's actually my age. She's cool, but that took a lot of me like holding some stuff back. But she and I seem to have the same mindset. But this girl was a bitch. Meanwhile, there was some tea going around the office about her cheating on her boyfriend with one of the finance bros who was working at the firm. So let me give you some context. She was dating an Indian guy, and his mother did not accept her whatsoever. She's a white girl, he's an Indian man. And, you know, she was telling me specifically about how it was difficult, and I was comforting her. She was telling me about a holiday where, you know, she wasn't very nice to her. Da, da, da. She came to me to tell me about that. And I was talking to her, and I was like, oh, that's so awful. Da, da, da. Some people are da, 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 whatever. Meanwhile, not even a few weeks later, you go and you do that to question my position on the program. These people are not your friends.
Your coworkers are not your friends, and this is your sign to block them from every form of social media. But let me explain. Now, one time I was having a conversation with my coworkers, right? And they were talking about how they're friends on social media. They hang out outside of work, blah, 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 blah. I don't do none of that with my coworkers. Then they got comfortable and they're like, oh, you know, the manager, her husband is so freaking ugly. And, you know, he plays more of like the feminine role in a relationship, like more of a housewife than a husband. And I'm like, how do you know this? She says, oh, you know, I went to their Facebook and I pulled up the husband. I was looking at him. She proceeds to pull up the husband and show him to me. Was he a looker? Absolutely not. But that's not the point of the story. Then she says, oh, yeah, I look at everybody's Facebook. I just want to see what everybody be up to. And immediately after my shift, I went home and blocked everybody, because I always thought that, but to hear it out loud, like you intentionally take time out of your day to find your coworkers on social media and judge them. That's why I don't want to be friends.
I'm going to tell you one coworker you got to keep a strong distance with. It's the one that's in the gossip. If they know everyone's business, they're in the punchinche, 9 times out of 10, they're going to take your gossip and spread it too. So be very, very careful with those. Don't go out to lunch with them. Don't be chit-chatting too much with them. Keep it really short. They don't need to know any details of what you did on the weekend. Anything about your kids, your spouse, your partners, none of that. Your past. Why? Because they will use it against you, whether that's to block any blessings you have at work. Also, leadership most of the time will know who's the gossipy coworker. The coworker that's in the punchinche. They know who that is, all right? And you can't get caught up in that because it impacts your work and it impacts your reputation. So be very careful with those.
Never, ever, and I repeat, never share any personal details about you to any coworker. You do not know what their motives are at the end of the day for them asking this information from you. These people are not your friends. It's like a forced environment with people, right? They're not friends that you're actively choosing. Yeah, you happen to be in the same environment, but you just don't know where these people's heads are at when you are sharing information about yourself, or if they're asking information. You just kind of want to be a little wary, a little careful about what you give away. You just don't know if these types of people are looking for something to use against you in the future. If they're using that as like some way, like, oh, you know, maybe that's why she's messing up at work, because she's going through this at work, right? And therefore, they'll tell management. You just don't know what they have against you. Be very vague when you share anything. There's people that are looking for your downfall in a coworker situation. And I'm not saying for everything, okay? But just to keep yourself just safe from any possible bad situation, keep everything on lock. Like, do not tell anybody anything about you. Just do your job, get in, get out. That's it. Want to be friends with your coworkers? I get that, but just keep it very superficial. You don't need to let them know anything right away. Just because you don't know what people's motivations are and their intentions are, and you just don't know if they have evil eye for you, they want you out of the company and they're pretending to be your friend. Don't trust people so easily in a coworker situation. You just don't know who they are at the end of the day. Make sure that you're tracking and documenting everything that you're doing, because some of these people will say that you didn't do something, report that to management, And who knows, maybe they've been there for a long time and they take their word over yours. So always document everything. Don't share anything with a coworker. You will just protect yourself at the end of the day, and that's all you need to worry about.
If you have a very toxic coworker, this is what you're going to do. Every time they ask you for something, ask them to put it in writing. When they ask you for something, you say, that's awesome, would you mind just popping it into an email? It's how I track my deliverables. No, it's not, but who cares? That way they can't come back and say, oh, I actually didn't ask for it this way. I asked for it that way. You're incompetent. I should tell your manager.
Lately, working in healthcare is giving ghetto. It's giving white refrigerator. It's giving, girl, put your shoes on and let's find you a home. And it's not because of the patients, it's because of management. It starts off with them not wanting to hire replacements for the people that retire or leave. And so then here we are in our departments, overworking ourselves. Girl. Then it goes into them wanting to incentivize overtime. Listen, having a bonus on top of your overtime, it sounds cute on paper, girl. But you know what they're really incentivizing? They're incentivizing you overworking yourself. They're incentivizing you spending less time with your family, your friends, and your partner. They're incentivizing you spending less time loving on yourself. Why? Because you're working. Lastly, it's them not wanting to give us the supplies that we need to do our job correctly and efficiently. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was gonna have to be Mary Poppins at work. Like, girl, do I need to bring my own toilet paper? Do I need to bring my own sabanas? Girl, get out of here. It's giving ghetto. It's giving very much so ghetto.
Okay, so I made a video on be aware of fake friends. And one of the dolls on here was like, she wanted like a little series. So I was like, okay, well, I can do that. So we're going to make a part 2. Let's talk about be aware of fake people on your job. I love y'all, but some of y'all are a little bit too comfortable for my liking. When you first come to a job, everybody is not your friend. Some of y'all are a little too comfortable for my liking when it comes to these jobs. Let me put you on game. When you first enter into a job, right? Especially black folks, we love putting each other on game, right? So when you have females or males who put you on game about certain people, you know how when you first come to a job, everybody be like, look out for this person, look out for that person, look out for that manager, look out for that lead, look out for this coworker, look out for that person. You know what I'm saying? You just got there. Before you start running your mouth, baby, you just got there. Don't start running your mouth. You just got there. You don't know nobody. When you first come to a job, take a deep breath, keep your mouth closed, and keep your eyes open. My mother raised me on Godfather. So in the words of the Corleone family, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Your coworkers are not your friends. When your coworkers start putting you, when you first get there and one of your coworkers or coworkers, all your coworkers start putting you on game about certain individuals, listen to them, take heed, all of that. Don't say nothing. When they inform you on the biggest snake on your job, listen. But please be aware, there is never one snake on your job. Even when we see snakes actually on the street, on the road, in the grass, we know if we see the mother or the father of that snake, we know it's some baby snakes also. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. A lot of times, especially with women, when you are very, very attractive, right? And you first get there, a lot of times the women on your job will be intrigued by your beauty. And then all of a sudden, it'll end up turning into jealousy. But wait, Rouge, they were just putting me up on game. I don't understand. That's just how the game goes, baby. A lot of times women be on your job, see you fine, you can dress, all this kind of stuff, and be trying to tell you about this one big snake that's on the job, and then they'll end up turning on you. Keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. Your coworkers are not your friends. Another thing, Everybody wanna know the tea. Oh, everybody love Miss. Everybody wanna know the tea. But when shit goes down, ain't nobody gonna have your back. Everybody loves tea and mess. But when some shit goes down, ain't nobody gonna have your back. Your coworkers are not your friends. Stop being so nice and being so damn comfortable with these people you do not know. Everybody nice in the beginning. If they ask you and you just got there, oh girl, you want to go get a bite to eat? You want to go to lunch with me? You don't even know her. Red flag. Oh girl, we hanging out at the club tonight, or we hanging out at this lounge. You should come drink with us. You don't know them. Red flag. Hey, can you drop me off at my house? I need a ride. I need a ride home. You just got there. This your first week. Red flag. A lot of times, managers and leads on your job ain't no different from your coworkers. Keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. Your coworkers are not your friends. Wow, those stories were definitely something else and definitely an eye-opener. If there's any takeaway, it is this: to protect your peace and to set your boundaries at work at all costs. Not everyone in the office is basically looking out for your best interests, and I mean, that's okay. It's all about knowing how to navigate those dynamics. That's just my opinion. So this is where we're going to wrap up today's video, guys. If you have enjoyed the content and you haven't already done so, remember to like and of course subscribe. And if you want to continue to watch more relatable content like these, you can go ahead and click that up next video right here on your screen so you can enjoy the day away. As per usual, guys, thank you so much again for watching. I am so humbled that you're still here. My name is Jody and I aspire to inspire. Until next time, guys, walk good.